Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, thinking about a small problem over and over again, or replaying a conversation in your mind and wondering if you said the right thing? Maybe you keep worrying about what others think of you, or whether you made the right decision in a situation. If this sounds familiar, don't worry, you are not alone. Overthinking is something almost everyone experiences at some point in their life. It can make even simple problems feel huge and stressful, and it can stop us from taking action or enjoying the present moment. But why do we overthink so much? Why does our mind keep looping over the same thoughts without giving us peace? The answer lies in how our brains are wired and how our past experiences, fears, and habits influence the way we think. Understanding this can help us take control of our thoughts and feel calmer. In this video, I will explain 10 important reasons why overthinking happens, all based on real psychological research. I will break them down in a simple and easy way so that you can understand them and recognize these habits in yourself. By the end of this video, you will have a clearer idea of why your mind keeps overthinking and how you might start to stop it. So let's dive in and explore these 10 reasons together. 1. Fear of making mistakes. One of the main reasons we overthink is because we are afraid of making mistakes. Our brain constantly imagines all the things that could go wrong, even if the chances are very small. You might find yourself asking, what if I mess up? Or what if I choose the wrong option? This fear can stop us from taking action or making decisions easily. Psychologists call this fear of failure, and it is very common. When we are afraid of failing, our mind starts to replay every possible scenario again and again. We think about what could happen, how others might react, and all the consequences, even minor ones. While this can feel like our brain is planning ahead, it actually traps us in a loop of endless thinking. Over time, this constant fear can make small tasks feel overwhelming and can make us doubt ourselves more than necessary. The truth is, everyone makes mistakes sometimes. It's a natural part of learning and growing. Understanding that fear of mistakes is normal can help us notice when our brain is overthinking and gently guide ourselves to take action instead of staying stuck in worry. 2. Low self-confidence. Another major reason we overthink is low self-confidence. When we don't fully trust ourselves, every decision, big or small, can feel like a huge challenge. Even something as simple as choosing what to eat or what to say in a conversation can make our minds spin with doubt. We constantly ask ourselves, am I making the right choice? Or what if I'm wrong? Research shows that people with low self-esteem or low self-confidence tend to overthink more than others. This happens because they are always questioning their own abilities and decisions. Their brains are wired to look for possible mistakes or failures, even when there might not be any real danger. Over time, this constant self-doubt can become a habit, making it hard to trust yourself or act confidently. Low self-confidence doesn't just affect decision-making. It can also make us worry excessively about what others think of us, whether we are good enough, or if we are being judged. The good news is that by noticing these patterns, we can start working on building self-trust. Small steps, like celebrating little successes or reminding ourselves of past achievements, can help reduce overthinking and make us feel more confident in our choices. 3. Past experiences. Our past experiences play a big role in why we overthink. If something went wrong in the past, our brain remembers it and tries to prevent the same thing from happening again. For example, if you once gave a presentation and felt embarrassed, you might now spend hours worrying before every new presentation, thinking about all the ways it could go wrong. Psychologists call this negative learning. It happens because our brain naturally wants to protect us from harm or discomfort. While this can sometimes help us avoid real mistakes, it can also make us nervous, anxious, and overly cautious in situations that are actually safe. Overthinking becomes a way to prepare ourselves, even if it ends up causing more stress than benefit. Past experiences don't just influence how we think about big events. They also affect small, everyday decisions. Maybe a friendship didn't work out, or a job interview didn't go as planned, and now your brain keeps analyzing every word, action, or choice. This is your mind's way of trying to learn from the past. But when it happens too much, it keeps you stuck in a cycle of worry instead of letting you move forward confidently. Understanding that our overthinking often comes from past experiences is the first step toward breaking this habit. By recognizing that not every situation will repeat the same outcome, we can gradually teach our mind to focus on the present and reduce unnecessary worry. 4. Perfectionism. Perfectionism is another big reason why we overthink. People who are perfectionists want everything in their life to be flawless, from their work and decisions to their appearance, and even the way they communicate with others. Because of this, their minds are constantly searching for mistakes, flaws, or ways to improve, which can make even small tasks feel overwhelming. Psychologists explain that perfectionism is closely linked to overthinking because perfectionists rarely feel that anything is good enough. Instead of finishing a task or making a decision and moving on, they spend extra time analyzing every detail, worrying that it's not perfect, or imagining all the ways it could go wrong. This creates a loop of endless thinking and self-criticism. Perfectionism doesn't just affect work or studies. It can also affect relationships, hobbies, and daily life. For example, a perfectionist might spend hours rereading a message before sending it, worrying whether it sounds polite or smart enough. Or they may delay starting a project because they fear it won't be flawless. Over time, this constant self-monitoring can cause stress, anxiety, and even reduce confidence in their own abilities. The important thing to understand is that striving for excellence is good, but perfectionism can be harmful. Accepting that mistakes and imperfections are part of life can help reduce overthinking and make it easier to take action without being stuck in endless analysis. 5. Too many options. Sometimes, overthinking happens simply because we have too many choices. In today's world, we are constantly faced with decisions. Big ones like choosing a career or moving to a new city, and small ones like deciding what to eat or what movie to watch. When there are too many options, our brain can feel overwhelmed, trying to figure out which choice is the best one. Psychologists call this phenomenon analysis paralysis. It happens when our mind gets stuck in a loop of comparing all the possibilities, imagining the outcomes, and worrying about making the wrong decision. Instead of helping us, this overanalysis can actually make it harder to choose anything at all. You might spend hours thinking about a decision, second-guessing yourself, and still feel unsure at the end. This happens because our brain naturally wants to maximize positive outcomes and minimize mistakes. It thinks, if I choose wrong, something bad could happen, even when the stakes are small. Over time, having too many choices can lead to stress, indecision, and even regret because we fear missing out on a better option. Understanding that too many options can trigger overthinking helps us take a step back. Sometimes, setting limits, trusting our instincts, or accepting that there may not be a perfect choice can reduce stress and help us make decisions more confidently. 6. Anxiety and stress. Another major reason we overthink is anxiety and stress. When we are stressed, our brain goes into overdrive, trying to solve problems and prepare for the worst. Even small issues, like a message we need to send or a minor mistake at work, can start to feel like huge problems. Our mind keeps running different scenarios, imagining every possible outcome, which can make the stress even worse. Research shows that people with anxiety disorders often overthink more than others. This happens because their brains are constantly on high alert, always scanning for potential threats or dangers, even when there isn't a real threat. The brain's natural alarm system becomes overly sensitive, which causes thoughts to spiral and small worries to turn into big ones. Stress and anxiety don't just make us think too much. They can also affect our sleep, focus, and decision-making. When our mind is constantly overthinking, it can feel exhausting, making it even harder to relax or take action. The key is to recognize when stress and anxiety are driving your thoughts. Simple techniques like deep breathing, mindfulness, or focusing on the present moment can help calm your mind. Over time, learning to manage anxiety can reduce overthinking and make life feel less overwhelming. 7. Overthinking about others' opinions. A very common reason we overthink is worrying about what other people think of us. This could be about friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers. We replay conversations in our mind, worry about how our words or actions were perceived, or imagine what others might be thinking. This constant mental checking can make even small situations feel stressful and exhausting. Psychologists call this social evaluation anxiety. It happens when our brain is overly focused on approval, judgment, or acceptance from others. While it is natural to care about how others see us, overdoing it can trap our mind in a cycle of overthinking. We start overanalyzing everything. Did I say the right thing? Did I act the right way? Will they like me? Will they judge me? This habit can affect many parts of life, from relationships and work to social media interactions. Over time, constantly worrying about others' opinions can reduce self-confidence, create unnecessary stress, and even prevent us from expressing ourselves freely. The first step to overcoming this type of overthinking is understanding that you cannot control what others think. Practicing self-acceptance, trusting your instincts, and focusing on your own values can help quiet the mind and reduce the pressure of social judgment. 8. Trying to control the future. Another common reason we overthink is our desire to control the future. Many of us try to predict every outcome and plan for every possibility, hoping to avoid mistakes or problems. While planning is useful, overthinking happens when we take it too far and try to control things that are actually unpredictable. Psychologists explain that uncertainty is a major trigger for overthinking. Our brains are naturally wired to seek safety and predictability. When we face situations that are unknown or uncertain, like a new job, a big decision, or even the outcome of a conversation, our mind keeps imagining different scenarios. It tries to anticipate every what if so we can feel prepared. The problem is that no matter how much we plan or think, the future will always remain partly unknown. Overthinking in this way doesn't give us control. It just creates stress, worry, and mental fatigue. We may end up stuck in a loop of imagining every bad possibility instead of focusing on what we can actually do in the present moment. The key is to accept that uncertainty is a natural part of life. By focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot, we can reduce overthinking and make decisions with more confidence and peace of mind. 9. Lack of focus. Another reason we overthink is simply a lack of focus. When our mind isn't fully focused on the task at hand, small thoughts and worries can grow and take over. We might start thinking about a minor problem, and before we know it, our brain is jumping from one worry to another, creating a chain of stress that feels endless. Psychologists call this pattern rumination. The good news is that improving focus can help break this cycle. Techniques like meditation, mindfulness, writing down thoughts, or breaking tasks into small steps can help the mind stay in the present. This reduces rumination and allows us to think clearly without getting stuck in endless loops. 10. Brain's natural pattern. Finally, it's important to understand that overthinking is partly natural. Our brains are wired to predict, plan, and protect us from danger. This ability has helped humans survive for thousands of years, as it allows us to notice potential risks and prepare for challenges before they happen. In many situations, this kind of thinking is helpful. It keeps us alert, cautious, and ready for action. However, problems arise when this natural pattern goes too far. Our brains can start imagining threats and dangers that aren't real or likely to happen. For example, you might worry endlessly about a small mistake at work or replay a conversation with a friend, even though there is no real danger. This is overthinking, the brain's protective mechanism working overtime, even when it isn't needed. Psychologists explain that overthinking is just the brain trying to stay safe, but it can sometimes backfire. Instead of helping us, it creates stress, anxiety, and indecision. Recognizing that this is a natural tendency is the first step toward managing it. By practicing mindfulness, focusing on the present moment, and trusting our own decisions, we can train our brains to use thinking as a tool rather than letting it become a source of endless worry.